Hello, aspiring hunters. Welcome to the Hunter Experience. Since the earliest records of ancient civilizations, there have always been stories about extraordinary abilities that went beyond common human capabilities. Some of these stories, when examined more closely, may suggest the origin of Nen. The connection between Nen and what is considered supernatural is not something new, and perhaps it is not something that originated from a simple process of human learning. There is something deeper, something that links these abilities to the very essence of life, something that is mentioned in stories from the Dark Continent, a place so distant and full of mysteries that almost no one truly knows what happens there. And I am going to reveal all of this to you today. If you're prepared for the incredible hunter journey, click like and subscribe to the channel to join our troop. Don't forget to comment on who your favorite character is in Hunter x Hunter. Now, let's continue with this incredible story. Hunters, I believe that throughout the ages, even before the mention of hunters or the training of skills, Nen already existed, but in a more rudimentary form, connected to forces beyond human understanding. Some accounts speak of Nen users in ancient times, long before the hunter organizations or the great battles that would define the future of the world. It may be that in antiquity, Nen was something different, perhaps something even more primitive, but already with immense power, controlled only by those who had the proper knowledge, or who knows, those who had some form of spiritual connection to other entities. In the oldest stories, there are mentions of people who possessed extraordinary abilities, which seem to transcend the limits of the human body. These stories began to spread, being told from generation to generation as something almost legendary. Some of these stories suggest that these abilities were connected to a special energy or force, which was not entirely human, but also not entirely supernatural. It was somewhere in between, something very ancient and present in all living beings. But who were these people, and how did they manage to use this power? One hypothesis, which might be more plausible than it seems, is that this power was directly linked to something much older and more mysterious, the Dark Continent. The Dark Continent being a place surrounded by mysteries and enveloped in an aura of danger and the unknown, may indeed be the true birthplace of where this energy originated. Reports about the Dark Continent speak of creatures that seem to have no limits and forces that defy human understanding. I think that Nen may indeed be one of these natural forces, something that was discovered or perhaps revealed gradually as humanity began to understand its own existence in the world. But what do we know about the Dark Continent? Practically nothing. It is even difficult to speak clearly about how the place was, or if it was, inhabited by any kind of advanced civilization. There is a theory that suggests an ancient civilization already lost to time developed Nen as a defense against these immortal creatures that inhabited the Dark Continent. These beings, whose qualities are more akin to mythical or even demonic creatures, were perhaps immortal beings who fed on the essence of everything around them. What these ancient peoples believed to be a life or death struggle against forces beyond human comprehension may have led to the development of Nen. When humanity realized that these immortal and merciless beings existed, perhaps the only way out was to use some form of deep power, a power that could not be manipulated just anyhow, but rather in a strictly controlled and conscious way. In the theory about the primordial order, it seems clear that these people had a profound knowledge of the world and the natural forces that governed it. They were not merely hunters of creatures, but scholars of life, death, existence, and the very universe itself. It is interesting to note that many of the practices and concepts that arose from this civilization were passed down to subsequent generations, though in a fragmented manner and mixed with time. Everything we know about Nen today, for example, may be a reflection of the primitive forms that these ancient civilizations used to protect themselves. Amid these discussions about the origins of Nen, the name Netero arises, one of the most enigmatic characters in the entire history of hunters. But what did he know about Nen? Netero was an extremely wise and powerful man, but throughout his life, he maintained a deep silence about many aspects of his own history, including his true beliefs about the origin of Nen. Did he possess some kind of ancestral knowledge that he never wished to share? Perhaps he knew more about Nen than he ever revealed? Perhaps because, like some great masters, he understood that some things need to remain hidden for the good of all. What Netero knew, and what he did not reveal, may be an important key to understanding the origins of Nen. He knew that this energy was something much older and more powerful than any technique or skill acquired through training. Perhaps Netero was aware that, at its core, Nen is something that transcends human understanding, and that, by using it, humans may be connecting to forces beyond their own comprehension. As we delve deeper into the history of Nen and its mysteries, it is impossible not to reflect on the many possibilities that arise throughout the plot, especially when thinking about Gon's role and how Nen is, in many ways, transmitted and developed. One of the ideas that is starting to gain strength is that perhaps Gon lost his Nen for a deeper reason, a reason that is tied to something very ancient, perhaps even an ancestor of his. This hypothesis suggests that at some point in Gon's family history, one of his ancestors discovered the true way to use Nen, and that, with that, this power remained latent in his lineage, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. This theory, while involving a certain degree of speculation, does not seem too far off when we look at the construction of Gon's story and his journey. I think there is some logic behind this possibility. The fact that Gon was so pure in his intentions and showed a strong connection to the power of Nen from a very young age could be a clue that Nen was already in some way present in his lineage, albeit in a latent form. Gon's story, with its ups and downs, its struggles and victories, could very well be a reinterpretation of a tradition in his family. It may be that one of Gon's ancestors was one of the first to master Nen, someone who achieved a purer form of this power. And over time, this knowledge was forgotten, hidden, or lost, until Gon, unknowingly, was destined to revive it. However, do I really agree with this theory? I'm not sure. Gon's journey is much more personal, based on his own willpower and his ability to evolve through his experiences. This suggests that Nen in Gon, at least in the way we see it, is tied to his own individuality, not to a power directly inherited from his ancestors. But on the other hand, the idea of a lineage connected to an ancient discovery is not impossible to consider, especially when we think about how Nen is present in many cultures and traditions, often unconsciously. In any case, it would be an interesting expansion of the concept that Nen's power can be something that spans generations, waiting for the right moment to be rediscovered. One of the greatest figures who might give us clues about the origin and true nature of Nen is the so-called first Nen user. This legendary being, who seems to have mastered Nen in its purest form, is a figure that gets lost in the shadows of history. But if they really existed, this first user may have reached a level of understanding and control over Nen that goes beyond anything we see today. I believe that if they truly existed, this first user was not only manipulating an energy, but understanding the true essence of the universe and the power they were using. The story of this legendary being, if true, should certainly not be treated as just a simple narrative of someone who mastered Nen. I believe the first user did not see Nen as a combat ability or just a tool. On the contrary, they saw Nen as a way to connect with something much greater, something cosmic, something that links all living beings and the very fabric of the universe. This type of understanding of Nen is so profound that even the most advanced Nen users, like elite hunters, may not have a true glimpse of its magnitude. What we know of Nen today is just a fraction of what it really can be, and the first user may have been the person who unraveled these layers, understanding Nen as a universal force, not just an individual skill. Now, one aspect that is becoming increasingly clear as the story of Hunter x Hunter unfolds is the role of the Hunter Association and its apparent interest in hiding or even suppressing certain knowledge about Nen. This is something that is revealed gradually, especially when we observe the way the association tries to control the spread of knowledge, even though their intentions may seem at first beneficial. But if we look more closely, we can see that the Hunter Association, in its quest to maintain balance in the world, has a protective, almost secretive attitude towards the true power of Nen. I believe the association is more involved in protecting the world than simply preserving the status quo of hunters. They know that Nen is not just a skill that can be used without consequences, and that if misused, it can bring gigantic imbalances, with consequences that go beyond mere physical destruction. Hunters, that was our video for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed our video, subscribe to the channel as it is still very new, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.